So how can you be more productive, create more, not only in your business, but also in your life, without having to spend a whole considerable amount of time, like literally in the shortest time possible? Now, I know sometimes that's the question that people ask, but sometimes there's like a deeper reason there, right there. It's like, you know what? Like I'm getting to the point right now where I'm just taking on so much. I feel like I can't add anything else to my plate, but I also feel like in order for me to grow, for me to like actually excel in my business and in my personal life, I have to find a way of being able to achieve more without having to do more. And that's what today's training is going to be all about. We're really going to dive into the biggest return that Teresa and I have ever found in our entire lives. And that has to do with like creating a powerful team. Yes, I love the idea of surrounding yourself with a powerful team, but also creating one in the process is what has really helped us exponentially, not only grow our business, but also have time where we can spend time at home, especially when our kids are recovering from sickness like now. And like we have a little baby puppy who's here, who's like controlling our lives. We need to have like a really solid foundation built so that we don't have to like let our foot off of the gas in our business. As a matter of fact, when you create really incredible teamwork, it will change the game for you forever. Now, I want to explain to you what great teamwork can get for you. I literally want to sell you on this right now because at the time, I thought that I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough space. I wasn't at a certain point in my business. I really didn't have enough things for them to do that I was literally convincing myself that I shouldn't have a team. And then when I started to find people, I found incredible humans like Kurt and Nais and Aaron and Sneha and of course, Teresa. Like it really allowed me to like lean in and really create an atmosphere where it literally felt like I was on duty 24/7 without me having to actually be on duty. Now, some of the things, now I know this does sound really great, but some of the things that really working and excelling when it comes to your team, the people that you're around, whether it's inside of your multi-level marketing business, it's inside of your, even like your health and fitness, like having a team there, it's so critical in many aspects of life. But I want to tell you what happens when you start actually investing in your team, in your business. Number one is you get increased productivity, meaning there's more produced in your business at the end of the day, and it's not being produced by you. Number two is enhanced creativity and innovation, meaning you always hear that two heads are better than one. Well, how about three or four or five? When we have something that we're like creatively like having a bunch of ideas, I'll throw something out to Aaron, to Kurt, to Sneha, to Nais, to Teresa. And we now have this global way of like being super creative that if just it was Mark by himself, he would never have been able to figure things out that way. Improved employee satisfaction, which means when somebody is like feeling a part of the mission, they feel like they're a part of the team, they're crushing it, they feel like they're making a difference in the world, and so they are. Like not only when it comes to like in the business, but one of the critical things for me is creating a team that not only crushes their business, but also is doing exceptionally well in their personal life. It's one of those things where I feel like it's a great addition of both. And when you actually are around a team and create a team like this, what we call a dream team, it will actually make them be able to hit their goals in their personal life as well as you hit your goals in the business. It also helps with better problem solving. If you've never been through a problem specifically yourself, but somebody else has, of course, it's really awesome to be able to like pull on their experience, but even just getting creative, it's so much easier to convince ourselves there's not a solution to this problem when we're by ourselves. But you get 5 people in a room, somebody is going to have a solution and somebody is going to be able to create like some new things based off of just synergizing together as a team. And lastly, it strengthens your culture. Can't tell you how leaning into the core values that we have here in modern leadership, leaning into the people, the people that we have here, the leaders that we have on our team, has created this really incredible culture of like literally I could say this, like what would Kurt say? Or what would Kurt do? What would Sneha do? What would Aaron do? And really it gets us to like level up the culture to where everybody, not only, first off, everybody is like a coach and really great at coaching, but it just helps us level up each other because when we're a part of a team, it's almost so easier to be in your heart voice rather than your head. Now, these are literally just some of the things that happen when you get really great at creating a great team atmosphere. We're going to talk to you about how to do that today, but it's actually not as hard as you think. So stay tuned because we are going to crush your ability of creating the dream team. So guys, welcome to Modern Leadership, where we see things differently. We help entrepreneurs become modern leaders so they can make a huge impact in the world without having to sacrifice their family, their health, or burn themselves out. We do that via quick tip videos on Mondays and Thursdays, longer episodes here on Saturdays where Teresa and I can actually dive into the specific topics. We also have a leadership and business book club. If you're not a part of that, definitely subscribe. And we have our inner circle, which we have so many different people that are here, but we had 3 new members this week, and that was Veronica, Drew, and Heather. So pumped to have you guys on the team. I think we're almost like 30 strong. I really love the ability of being able to share some things behind the scenes with all of you guys and then give you guys that live Q&A. If you have not heard of the inner circle, you definitely need to click the join button below on our YouTube page, Modern Leadership. It'll give you some of the details about how that works and how cheap it is right now. That being said, I want to dive into these very specific teamwork like ideas and philosophies about how to put this together. Now, why and how are we even like, why should you even listen to what we have to say here today? Like, who are we to be able to teach on this? So I'm going to break down a couple things first, because I know a lot of people this might be the first time you ever heard of Mark and Teresa, the Mark and Teresa show, when it comes to like modern leadership. And you're like, you know what? Like, who are these two knuckleheads, right? First off, you won't say that about her because I will come and I will find you. But like, you're like, well, who are they to talk about this? So for me personally, I was a member of the Los Angeles Police Department for 20 years. So for 20 years, majority of those years being a police sergeant, I had to get people to do things in an environment that was not the most fun environment. And how I was able to succeed and excel and grow in as a police officer to a police sergeant was being able to learn how to develop incredible teams. Literally, people's lives were on the line when I was in charge of specific situations. Now, I've been able to take those and move those over, a lot of the principles that I learned, into my business today. So not only do we have like 5 team members that are on our personal team, but I also help coach and facilitate my mentors team, which is much more people than 5 people. There's so many different people that we actually work with over there. And it's really just the power of some of the basic principles that we're going to be talking about today that allows us to have that really great environment. Now, Teresa also found herself to be at the UCLA Medical Center, really having to really focus on sustainability, really helping people try to understand this, helping people to get like the hospital system to zero waste when they don't give a care in the world about the green or the environment. All they care about is how harder it's going to be in order for you to be able to get to that point, right? And so having to create a team environment that people felt excited about, that like being pushed towards, you know what, I want to be able to do this for the betterment of the environment, even if it makes my job harder, is one of those things where if you're leading in a nonprofit, you're the best leader on the planet because you can't really necessarily do anything, right? Like all you can do is just lead with the ability of like creating that team atmosphere, but also leading with your heart. And by doing so, you get so many people to follow you. It is extremely powerful. So wanted to share how badass of a person Teresa is. And I think I said the bad word, but it's okay. I'll have to flag that on YouTube. But I want to dive into these specific things. How many do we have here today? We have 5 very specific things that we want to break down for you on how to create this level of a dream team. And with all that talking, I want to now pass it over to Teresa, and I want you to dive into number 1.
Okay. So I think that's what you just talked about was a good segue into number 1, because really it's about how do you get people to really buy into the overall mission, right? Or that vision that you have. And like Mark said, I was working at UCLA, and, how do I get people who, their job is to save lives. Their job is to take care of patients. How do I get them to actually care about what like we're doing to the planet, right? Because there is a lot of waste in healthcare. So how do I create that mission or that vision for them so that they can take part in that? And that was difficult. However, number 1 is to clearly define roles, objectives, and expectations from the start. So, how do people fit into that overall vision? That's what they want to know, right? They want to know like what part they have in all of this. And it's the same with your teams. You have to clearly define what people need to do. And how this works is each team member should have a clear understanding of their role and how it contributes to the larger objective, right? Like I said, they have to know who they are in this bigger vision and what they need to do in order to contribute to that mission. And why this matters is because clear roles and objectives reduce confusion. and and overlapping responsibilities, right? So you're not like actually having people work more because their roles are clearly defined and they know exactly what it is that they need to do. And this can lead to friction if you don't have that. So if there's confusion, it leads to like friction. So it also makes it easier to track progress because it will hold people accountable. So if you have these set of clearly defined roles and objectives and duties that people need to do, then you can actually go in and say, okay, well, how are we doing? Like there's metrics, there's measurable, tangible results that you can keep track of and then hold people accountable, right?
I love it. As I'm muted, I want to take a drink from my water. And last time you yelled at me because it was too loud. But I really love that idea of like identifying like roles, responsibilities, objectives from the start. Like the time that you don't want to do that is like after you're down the road, after you've created a team, after it's all done. No, you want to get people to buy into your vision, to what you have, what you're creating, and your expectations of how they can actually be a part of this. So recently we got Aaron to join the team. Super excited to have Aaron as a part of the team. But one of the things we do is we whenever we think about like getting somebody on the team, we define, okay, what would their specific role be? For her, it's going to be community manager so that she can like totally lean in and take full responsibility for that. And so I would paint a vision in terms of this is what we are doing here at Modern Leadership. This is the impact that we're going to make in the world. This is how I see you fitting in. Does this feel like something that you would be willing to like take over, take ownership of, and be empowered to make your decisions on your own? Yes, like maybe in the beginning, bouncing some stuff off of me, but also you're a leader yourself. I want you to feel comfortable to step up, take actions, and then know that things are going to happen. We're going to have to correct things. There's going to be like difficulties and situations that come up where like, hey, could you do it this way or that way? But that's a part of the process, right? And if I didn't do that in advance, when it did come up later, like it would feel like a little bit weird and awkward, right? So that's why this is number one, is always make sure that whenever you are putting together a team, they know what your mission is. Well, first off, let's stop for a second. Do you know what your mission is? Because if you don't know what your mission is, how are you going to communicate that to someone else? So I think like even slowing down, and this is step 0.5, think about like, what is my mission? What am I going to accomplish from my business, from my personal life, from whatever you're going to develop for your team, right? For me, it was like, what is my mission for doing a search warrant, being as safe as possible, but apprehending the suspect? Like if you don't know your mission, you're not going to be able to bring some people along with you. So ask yourself, what is my mission? And how can I communicate this in a way to get them to see, number one, if they want to buy into that mission? Because if somebody's like, yeah, I'm not really interested in that, then I'm like, totally cool. So glad we figured this out now, because you're not going to be a good part of the team, because our team is going to go out and crush it. And they're going to have and create this like level of help that we're giving entrepreneurs to be able to become modern leaders like we're doing here, because we want to make a huge impact in the world. Guys, you don't know that like this isn't really driven by my desire to help people in their business. This is driven by my desire for people to be able to crush their business, but also have better relationships at home than they've ever had in their entire life. Like as a result of your business, you actually are so connected to home that you leave a legacy that like nobody will forget forever. Because like they say, when you stop your business or you stop working, people will remember you for like 6 months. Your family will remember you forever. So my goal, even though business is a part of that, my goal is for you to create a legendary connection with your family so that you can have that legacy that lasts forever. Like you are the one who transforms and changes your lineage forever, because you prove that it's possible to excel professionally and personally. Now, a lot of this has to do with my own personal story when it comes to like me losing track of things, but also as growing up as a kid. Like I want to make sure that kids like are not only like such a huge priority, but they're shown by their parents, by modeling the behavior, that they don't have to give up something in order to be a family member or to be their good parent. They actually can excel at this and excel as a parent too. So if that's my mission, and I ask you, are you ready to join the mission? I know, like from your response, whether or not you're somebody who's going to be a part of the team. So that's why this is so critical. You making sure that you point out what your mission is and what their expectations are and how they could play a part of that. And I got to tell you, like I've yet to have somebody who goes, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'm not really interested in it. Most people are like, how do I sign up for this? Wait, you're going to pay me to be a part of this? Like, Heck yeah, I'll do that, right? And it's because number one, I've done it so wrong so many other times, but because I understand like the philosophy of like not only painting the picture and painting the vision, but also paint some of the expectations in advance. And is it like all beautiful and rainbows in the beginning? No, it's like, and here's the things that I would love for you to do to be able to get us there, right? And there's site corrections and all those kind of things we'll talk about a second when we go down the other items. But this is the most important thing of all. It's like when you are setting your team up, and I don't freaking care if you're just like the coach in charge of the Bubble Guppies soccer team. All right. What is your guys' mission? What is the mission? And now you can empower these little 13-year-olds to run around and like actually like act on that mission. All right. And reminding them of why they're there. And it's probably not to win a trophy. It's probably like, we just want you guys to have the most fun ever. We don't want you to be hard on yourself. We don't want you to be hard on each other. We want you to level each other up and hold each other accountable. But also, like, we want you to have a freaking blast. All right. We're not going to be the parents over there who are like literally getting kicked out of games because of the things that we're saying about the umpire and all this stuff. That's not going to be us. Our mission is to have you have the best time of your life right now when you're growing up, when you're having fun in sports. And that's what the mission is. Question, what do you think the girls are going to be like on the team when they know that that's their mission? They're going to have the best time ever, and they're going to let things slide off their back, and they're still going to be a little competitive, but they're not going to be like, oh my God, I suck because I missed this goal, right? And so really setting this, no matter what team you're talking about, is extremely critical, and I think we spent enough time on that one, okay? So let's move on to number two. Number two, I love number two so much. No, okay, that didn't sound right. I love part two here so much because we're going to talk about open and honest communication amongst your team. All right. This is what we call actually psychological safety. I have this video that I did. Definitely you guys should check it out, and I'll leave it inside of the description, but it is how leaders make people feel safe. Okay. And it's you creating an environment where people feel comfortable of sharing things with you by not only you sharing some things with them, but actually asking for them to share those things with you, even if it hurts your ego, even if it's frustrating, even if it's like, I don't know, like if I ask this, what if they tell me about it? Well, here's the thing. There's things that are happening that you don't know about. Would you rather know about them so you can fix them? Or would you later, like after you get off stage, somebody goes, oh, you have a piece of spinach right here, or your fly's open. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, I want to know that beforehand. So if you could tell me, that would be awesome. And then how we do that is we set up an environment of psychological safety. And what this means is you create a safe space for people where if they share something, they're not attacked, not only by you, but also by the team. All right. You appreciate them for bringing that forward. And of course, you have them take a buy-in of their part of the situation and how we could all show up better. But really, you have to be open to having those kind of like conversations. And when you create this environment of psychological safety, it will change the game forever because people will not be quiet and leave it to themselves when they see a hole in what you have going on. When they see something that could potentially come up. And then what happens later is they're like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen, right? And it's like, well, why didn't you share that? And it was actually because of me of not creating that environment of psychological safety. Now, I want to take this psychological safety into the family realm because, yes, we can talk about like any type of team, but I really want this one to hit home because I know this will for anybody who has a parent or who is a parent. Everybody has a parent. Anybody who is a parent, okay? I want you to think about this. When something happens with your kid, something's going to happen. They're going to do something wrong. They're going to get in trouble. Something is going to happen. How do you want them to think? My mom or my dad could never find out about this. Or I better tell my mom and my dad. This is the first person I need to go to because they're going to help me. Which one do you think you would rather have? If you want the one where it's like, you know what? Like, I can never tell my mom or dad about this. How many things do you not know your kids are going through? They're struggling with. They want some help. They need some help. They need some mentoring. They need some coaching. That you never have the opportunity to help them because you created an environment of every time they bring something to you, you snap. And you're like, why did you? And you just immediately go down there as opposed to just letting them express themselves. And if you rather be the type of parent that's like, this just happened, I need to tell my dad, I need him to be my first call right now, then you've created an environment of psychological safety. It doesn't mean what they did is okay. It just means you're willing to listen and you're willing to realize that you were a kid and you probably did stupid stuff as well. And when you can really resonate with that of like, I've got to create this environment where people feel safe sharing things with me. Yes, we're talking about the office, but yes, we're also talking about our kids. Now you know all of the details. As a leader, one of the worst things that we can do is not have all the details. People holding back and not sharing. And it is not their fault, it is ours. So how could you create an environment of psychological safety? By asking for feedback, by sharing some of the things that you've maybe struggled with, and create an environment that people don't lash out at each other, but they actually talk highly of people who bring this level of things up, because you cannot fix what you don't know is broken. So that is why step number 2 is creating a psychological safe environment, all right? And having and making sure that you're being honest. This doesn't mean sugarcoating things. Sometimes just telling them, hey, you made a mistake. Here's how we could do this a little better. It doesn't mean that you're trying to sneak in what it is that is going on. No, you're being open and honest, but you're also willing to accept that yourself. All right, part number 3. I'm on a roll. I'm going to keep going. Is fostering inclusivity and diversity. Here's the thing. You want as many different ideas and ways of fixing a problem, and many different cultures, and maybe many different colors, and many different ways of communicating. You want it all, okay? Having just one single way of doing it is never the solution. Having multiple different things is really where it's at, all right? Like, this is one of the greatest opportunities that we have right now, is to literally work through a whole bunch of different array of people, of ideas, of philosophies, and get to the thing that is actually going to make the biggest impact in the world. And sometimes it's a mixture of all of it, all right? So when you think about, like, how can I actually get the opposite opinion of this to come forward and have a conversation with us? If you're like a leader where everybody is the yes person to you, yes, that's the greatest thing ever. Yes, oh my God, yes, I think we should do that. Yes, and you're not one to critically think, where you're like, okay, like, as a leader, everybody tells me yes all the time. I need to also ask people for the differing opinion. Who is somebody who is like a leader here who would be willing to kind of challenge me on this? Because I want to make sure that this is the right move. And what's crazy is when you ask people to step up and to challenge you in those areas, and they do, the conversation is so incredible, and it opens you up to potential pitfalls that you never knew would have happened. Like, you don't even have any idea that these things could have happened and turned out the wrong way. But like, being able to foster this kind of like environment will literally create this level of like, not only solution-based team, but also where everybody knows that they're valuable for their own experiences, their own ethnicity, their own sex, their own, like, how many kids they have, all those kind of things. And when you have a team that is at that level and gels that well, can you kind of hear just from the first 2 how powerful a team is when you set the vision, you create psychological safety, and you make sure that everybody has an equal opinion and advice and can give their own insights? It is a game changer, but there's still 2 more to go. So I just want to make sure that as we go, you just picture in your mind what a team like this would look like. How would they show up? Because I got to promise you, it's like something else on an entirely different level. But let's jump into number 4. Teresa, I'd much rather see you on the screen. Let's do it.
No, I mean, that's the way you explain all of those is awesome. I'm being the yes person right now, just by the way.
You said just
All
right
right. So,
now?
yeah. All right. So number 4 is to build trust. So put everyone in a situation to work together using each other's individual strengths. So how this works is really just engaging in regular team building exercises that are both fun and challenging. So like even what Mark was saying, like trying to get like those differing opinions. I mean, how boring would it be if it was just like the leader talking and, sharing the ideas, and then everybody's like, "Oh, okay, cool." I mean, how much better and how much more cohesive would a team be if someone's like, "Oh, you know what? That's a great idea, but actually I have something else that you might want to consider." And I mean, that creates so much more trust because now everybody has a place at the table. Like they have a way to communicate their ideas and they're not afraid to share those. And this can also range from like problem solving games or like challenges that can require the team to like work together to win. So you want to make it fun, right? You don't want to just have like a boring 9 to 5. You want to be able to create a team where they enjoy showing up. They enjoy showing up for you. They enjoy showing up for themselves. They enjoy showing up for the vision. And doing stuff like this is always a great way to get that going. And this really matters because team building activities foster trust and understanding among each team member. And it makes it easier to work cohesively towards that common goal.
Yeah, I love this whole idea and philosophy. I mean, we've been talking about building trust since we started in the beginning. If you hadn't heard, like even pointing the vision and creating that psychological safety is all about building trust with people, right? But when you put them in an environment where, let's say there's two people and they don't typically work together, but you put them on a mission where they both get to like use their strengths in order to achieve something, you will foster so much great community, it'll blow your mind. So we have a program called the M&M. It is a master coach training program. Carmen, really great question, by the way, and I'll answer that in a second. We have a program that's called the M&M. It's where we teach people after they become certified life coaches to become master coaches. Inside of that program, we make sure that we set people up with what's called the 3 levels of reach. They have a mentor in that program, they have accountability partners, and they have somebody that they're mentoring, okay? Now, I gotta tell you, like when we started to find accountability partners and to set them on a mission together to be able to accomplish something, we've created lifelong friends forever. Like literally these people now go over to each other's house. They like literally speak to each other every single day. And it was because I decided to put 2 people together on the spreadsheet and tell them, hey, let's be accountability partners, set the vision, gave them some ability of being psychologically safe, right? Being able to learn that trust. And it really totally changed the game for them. And if we had not done that, I don't know where, they would be, because how many of you guys feel like I need people to be on that mission with? It's so easy for me to convince myself when I'm on this mission by myself to not continue to show up, to not continue to lean into that. And that's really where you can actually set this up. You can set up challenges. You can set up things where people have to work together to use their strengths, and it creates this cohesiveness that literally the whole team will benefit from. I know I do this a lot, like let's say sales kind of challenges. So sometimes what will happen is people will have a team, right? They'll have a team of sales people. And what they'll do is they'll individually pit people together. Like the person who makes the most sales gets this. And I love that, but also I want a team goal. Meaning if we all do this, everybody gets this. Same thing I did with my kids, where I'm like, hey guys, I'm doing this new program, right? And if I hit 100 people, when I hit 100 people, we're going to be able to do this. Now they're a part of it, right? They're like, Dad, go upstairs. Like you shouldn't be taking a break right now. You should probably be inviting some people so that you can get to this 100, right? And so they have that buy-in, and it just creates this level of like, okay, buddy, what can you do to help? And what can you do? And it like literally gets the entire team working on all cylinders, and it allows us to connect better than what we would if we had never had that team challenge or team goal. So ask yourself, what is a challenge or a goal or something that I can do right now that will actually get people who typically maybe don't work together, or just everybody heading in the same way, where it's not an individual sport, it's a team sport. Yes, I do love individual stuff, because some of you people are like me. You like a challenge, you like to be number one, you like to be at the top of the list, and that's cool if you want to do that. But also, like, how can we do this and benefit as a team? Because when you do that, I'm telling you, you just get to a different level with the team. All right. Lastly, and that is recognizing and celebrating achievements. This is step number 5, and it should be in every single one of the steps. So we're reading this awesome book, and I don't have it right here with me, but it's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And one way to not do that is to criticize, is to condemn, is to talk down, is to like be negative, because it's very easy for people to get defensive in that situation. Even if you have something that they can improve on, really like making sure that you lead with recognizing them for the great things that they're doing is going to help you communicate to them and then be more open to making adjustments along the way. But I also don't want you to do this just because you're trying to get to what's wrong. If you're leading with the wrong level of heart. The heart is like, you know what? This person is a powerful human. They're a powerful part of this team. I know they're on this mission. I know they do so many things incredibly well, and I have not done a good job to recognize them for it. And so I want to reach out to them and have no like any other ulterior motive other than saying, I just wanted to say that I appreciate you so much for what you're doing. Carmen, for example. Carmen, I appreciate what you're doing for those kids inside of your classroom, because you literally are impacting the world when those little kids go out and grow up to be older and they're like, you know what, I want to be a teacher too, or they want to share those things with their kids that you're teaching them in there. And that literally will have the ripple effect so that I can make a huge impact in their lives. And I appreciate you for doing that. I wish I could say all teachers do that. I've seen some really great teachers and some not so great teachers. And I just wanted to say, I thank you so much for you doing that. Now, here's the beautiful part about this. Number one is I meant every single word She is a freaking saint. I don't know how you do it, Carmen, but you're incredible at it, right? But number two is what gets recognized gets repeated. I'm pretty sure that now we're recognizing her for all this stuff. She's going to be like, well, I'm not going to stop doing this. This is something I'm leaning into. And even the energy would be a total game changer. And I got a whole bunch of heart emojis that are here. So I'm guessing that that's the energy. So when it comes to recognizing people, even if there's something you think they can do better, you always focus on what they are crushing, the things that they're doing, recognize them and talk to them about what they've been able to achieve. Because everybody always has things they could do better and things that they crushed. But because of our head voice, we're always focused on what's broken, wrong, or missing, the things that we could do better. Don't be their head voice, be their heart voice. Remind them of what they are crushing, how they are achieving it, how they're such an important part of the team. And I promise you, not only will they follow you anywhere, but they'll be more open to any ideas that you have on how to continue to level that up. So that's why number 5 is recognize and literally remove criticism from your vocabulary. Recognize and celebrate people along the way, especially for the things that you want to have repeated. All right. I feel like I drank a little bit too much pre-workout today, Teresa. What do you think?
No. What are you talking about? It's normal.
Yeah, right. Can you imagine? Okay, guys. Well, first off, Teresa, anything else that kind of like you were thinking about as we were having that wind down?
Well, that last part, I think about, reinforcing, and even Carmen said it, like reinforcing the positive, things that people are doing. I mean, who doesn't love, words of affirmation? If you love language, people like to hear what they're doing well in. Of course, we can all improve on certain things, but I think that really honing in on that and making sure that you really appreciate people and that they're doing a really great job, because everybody's trying their best. So recognizing that can make such a huge difference in someone's day and then eventually in their life.
I love that so much. I love it so much. I want to, like, as Teresa was talking here, I want to break it down. One thing, as you obviously are a powerful leader and you're thinking about creating a team, and your brain could go to, but Mark and Teresa just taught me these, 5 things, but I'm a part of a team and these things are not being done for me. Okay. So I want to pause you there for a second, just in case you're having those thoughts. Maybe you're not getting recognized. Maybe you're like, well, as a leader, it kind of feels lonely at the top. First off, I want you to know that I don't care where you are. I'm acknowledging and appreciating you for what you are doing as a leader. Sometimes as a leader, we are not in the environment that we like literally want for other people. That is the greatest opportunity we have to create that environment for you, okay? So if you're in that position, you're at work, even from any rank, it doesn't matter where you are, you can start creating this environment for yourself and just think about the impact that that will make when people see you as the leader who's creating this level of not only buy-in, but also psychological safety, and you're literally stepping up and being that leader, right? But I do know they can sometimes feel a little bit lonely. And I want to let you know that, like, even though there may not be people out there who are recognizing you for it, I guarantee you that what you're doing is not only powerful and not only changing the world, but if all of us knew what you were doing here, we would all be so proud of you. All right. So I want you to lean into that. I want you to lean into, I'm doing this not necessarily for recognition. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. And also I'm going to recognize myself for doing this, because the person who could like recognize you and really deserves to be recognized the most is you and by yourself. All right. So don't just think about how you can create this environment for others, but also create it for yourself, because you are one powerful human. You're out there making a difference in the world, doing the hard things, having these difficult conversations, creating this environment, all the things we talk about here. Can we just say, take like a second to like do a little bow, because of all of the hard work you're putting in. You're literally here at the end of a call, like thinking about how can I become better? And I'm so proud of you for doing that and for leaning in. You're exactly the leader the world needs right now. Now, Carmen asked this question. She said, like, but how do I find out who to join my team? And let me just tell you, we literally have an entire training for you. If you haven't seen that one, I'll leave it inside of the comment section, but it's how to train, hire, and delegate out to your team. And literally, we start from the beginning, talk about how to actually find people to join your team. Once you do, how to hire them, how to train them to do some of the things that we're talking about here today, and then also how to delegate to them, because some of you guys might actually hire a team and then be too afraid to tell them to do some things. There's systems that we have put in place to make sure that we have all of those pieces in alignment. And we did a live call, so we'll leave that at the end of this video so you can tap the screen if you're watching the replay. But if you're not, scroll down into the comments and you'll be able to see that replay, dive into that, and we'll be able to show you exactly who to find. Now, I want to break this down one more time. So there's all of these 5 pieces. 1 is clarity. 2 is communication. 3 is inclusivity. 4 is trust. And I said trush. Let's put trust. And 5 is recognition. So if all you do is you have no idea about what I just taught about, and you remember, okay, as a leader, I've got to create clarity among the team. I've got to create great communication. I've got to think, how can I get the level of trust amongst everybody to be super high? Not people fighting each other for, roles or whatever, like literally fostering an incredible environment. How do I create recognition and make sure that not only am I recognizing them, but what people see, they're actually going to continue to do. So if you actually recognize them, what if you created a team of leaders who's recognizing people? And then inclusivity, which is how can I get as many different ideas and insights and even the opposite thought that you have? How can we challenge that with somebody who's willing to step up, to lean in, and to literally create that, like not only the find a better answer, but find a solution that works best for everybody. And if you have those 5 things, you focus on those 5 things, you're going to create the most incredible, powerful team. But can I be honest? If you have one of those things, you're like 99% better than most of the people who put together a team out there, right? So even if you just decide on one of those, you are 99% better of a leader than most people that I've seen out there, because they're not focusing on these things. Focus on these things. It's a true game changer. We appreciate you for being willing to lean in and do these hard things like we always say. Thank you guys for making it to the end of the call. Appreciate you. And of course, keep leading from the front like Kurt says. All right. And I'll see you guys next weekend. Bye, everybody.
Bye.